Don't overlook those pennies. Some Lincoln cents hiding in your pocket change are worth way more than 1 cent. Rare dates, double dies, and minting errors have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Before you spend that penny, check closely. It could be your hidden treasure. The 1961 United States 1 cent penny might look like the kind of coin you've seen countless times, tucked away in jars, sliding across counters, or lying forgotten in drawers. To most people, it is simply worth a penny, just 1 cent out of many billions made. But to collectors who know the hidden stories of American coinage, the 1961 penny has another side. It's a coin with error varieties that turned what should have been ordinary into something extraordinary. Coins that have shocked collectors by selling for unbelievable prices between $62,000 and $142,000. For anyone interested in the magic of numismatics, this penny captures everything that makes collecting so thrilling: history, mistakes, rarity, and the possibility of discovering a fortune in the most unexpected place. In 1961, the Lincoln cent had already been a familiar sight for over 50 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin featured his profile on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than an allegorical figure, and it instantly became iconic. On the reverse in 1961 was the wheat ears design, also by Brenner, which had been in use since the beginning of the Lincoln series. Two stylized wheat stalks framed the words 1 cent, United States of America, and above was the Latin motto E pluribus unum. The wheat reverse would only last a few more years, ending in 1958, but in 1961 the Lincoln cent had already made its transition to the memorial reverse introduced in 1959. That means the 1961 penny carried the Lincoln Memorial on its reverse, an image designed by Frank Gasparo to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was widely praised for its modern, detailed look, and it became the face of the penny for decades. But while the design itself was stable, the minting process was not immune to errors. The year 1961 saw huge production numbers, with more than 2.4 billion cents struck in Philadelphia and another 1.75 billion in Denver. With so many coins being pressed, mistakes were bound to slip through the system. Most were small imperfections that no one cared about, but some were dramatic errors that collectors now treasure, mistakes that have transformed the 1961 penny into a coin capable of fetching astonishing prices. One of the most notable error varieties is the double die. A double die happens when the hub imprints the design onto the die more than once in slightly different positions. When coins are struck with that die, the images appear doubled, creating bold, visible extra outlines on the letters and numbers. The 1961 double die obverse cents are among the most striking. The word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1961 itself can appear with a shadow-like doubling, making the error easy to spot once you know what to look for. Collectors are especially drawn to double die coins because they are dramatic, instantly recognizable, and undeniably rare. Another category of errors includes off-center strikes. In these cases, the blank planchet wasn't properly centered when it was struck, leaving part of the design missing and a blank crescent of copper visible. Some of these off-center 1961 pennies are extremely dramatic, with the design shifted so far that Lincoln's portrait is partially cut off. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value collectors are willing to pay. Then there are die cracks, where stress on the die created raised lines across the coin, or coins struck on clipped planchets, where a small portion of the coin's edge is missing. Each of these errors turns what should have been a 1-cent piece into a collectible rarity. But the real treasure comes when these error pennies are preserved in exceptional condition. Circulation wears down the details of a coin quickly, especially one as small and soft as a copper penny. But the few 1961 error cents that have survived in uncirculated, mint-state condition are the ones that break records. That's where the price range of $62,000 to $142,000 comes in. When one of these rare, flawless error pennies comes to auction, collectors compete fiercely, knowing that such coins are essentially one of a kind. The bidding wars that erupt can push the final price far beyond what anyone would expect for a coin with a face value of 1 cent. The idea that a penny from 1961, made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house is something that captures attention immediately. But the explanation is simple: rarity and demand. Billions of 1961 pennies were struck, but the number of significant errors is tiny. Combine that rarity with the huge demand among collectors for Lincoln cents and error coins, and you have the perfect storm that produces six-figure price tags. For collectors, part of the excitement is the hunt. The 1961 penny is not some ancient artifact locked away in museums. It's a coin that still shows up in change, in old jars, in inherited collections. That means the chance of discovering one of these error pennies is real, even today. Stories abound of collectors who casually searched through a box of pennies, only to discover a double die or an off-center strike that turned out to be worth thousands. And for the lucky few, one of those discoveries could be the kind of flawless error penny that sells for $62,000 to $142,000 at auction. The 1961 penny also holds an interesting place in American history. The early 1960s were a time of change and optimism. John F. Kennedy had just become president, the space race was heating up, and American culture was shifting rapidly. Coins of that era are now seen as little time capsules, everyday objects that connect us to the lives and events of the past. To hold a penny from 1961 is to hold a piece of that story. To hold a rare error penny from that year is to hold a piece of history that is both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a key role in authenticating these coins. Because so many ordinary pennies exist, buyers need to know they are paying for a genuine error. A graded coin in mint state condition comes with a guarantee of authenticity, which is why those coins bring the highest prices. A 1961 double die obverse penny graded MS65 or higher is the kind of coin that can reach that six-figure range, while even lower grade examples are still valuable compared to face value. When you think about it, the story of the 1961 penny is one of transformation. A coin meant for everyday use, mass-produced in the billions, somehow became a rare collectible worth a fortune, not because of what it was supposed to be but because of what went wrong during its creation. Its imperfections are what make it perfect to collectors. Each error is a fingerprint of history, a mistake that slipped past the quality control of the mint but ended up becoming a treasure decades later. For collectors and non-collectors alike, the appeal is undeniable. It's the thrill of knowing that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight. That jar of pennies in the kitchen, that roll of cents from the bank, that box of coins passed down from a grandparent. They could hold a coin worth tens of thousands, even up to $142,000. The idea that such wealth could be wrapped up in something so small and unassuming is what keeps people searching. The 1961 United States 1-cent penny error is not just a coin. It's a story, a mystery, a symbol of how the smallest details can create the greatest value. It's proof that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures don't shine like gold or glitter like jewels. They hide in copper, overlooked until the right eyes notice them. And for those who do, the reward can be life-changing. When you think about coins in your pocket or tucked away in a jar at home, the last thing that might cross your mind is the possibility that one of those small, everyday pieces of change could be worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. But hidden within the world of American coinage are incredible rarities that defy their modest face values. One of the most astonishing examples comes from a simple penny minted in 1972. To the average person, this coin is nothing more than a 1-cent piece, something most people overlook or even ignore. But in the world of coin collectors, the 1972 Lincoln cent with errors is a shining star, commanding staggering sums ranging anywhere from $54,000 all the way up to $133,000 depending on its condition, rarity of the error, and market demand. That's not just loose change, that's life-changing money sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. The Lincoln cent has long been a staple of American currency. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a president's likeness. Over the decades, countless billions of pennies have been produced. Yet in 1972, something happened at the mint that transformed ordinary copper coins into numismatic treasures. The year was one of transition and heavy production demand, and under such conditions, mistakes were bound to slip through. Some of those mistakes gave us the 1972 double die pennies, coins whose inscriptions and portraits appear doubled due to a striking misalignment in the die-making process. These errors make the coins look peculiar to the trained eye, but to collectors they mark a rare and highly valuable minting anomaly. Think about it. Millions upon millions of 1972 pennies were minted, but only a small fraction of them emerged with these unusual doubling errors. That's the very definition of rarity in coin collecting. A coin that's common in general but unique and extraordinary in specific variations. Collectors hunt for such pieces with a passion, and when one shows up at an auction in pristine condition, the bidding wars can escalate quickly. It's not uncommon for these 1972 era pennies to draw jaw-dropping figures, with top-grade examples fetching between $54,000 and $133,000. The sheer leap from 1 cent to 6 figures is enough to leave anyone stunned. To understand why these coins carry such immense value, let's dive into the error itself. The double die phenomenon occurs during the process of hubbing the die. Essentially, the die that stamps the coin receives more than one impression from the master hub, but those impressions aren't perfectly aligned. The result? All the design elements, letters, numbers, even Lincoln's profile, appear slightly duplicated or shadowed. On the 1972 Lincoln cent, this doubling is most noticeable on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as on the date, 1972. For a collector, spotting these anomalies is like striking gold. They instantly know they're holding something the vast majority of people will never encounter in circulation. But it's not just the doubling itself that drives the price. Condition plays a monumental role in determining value. Coins graded at higher levels by professional services like PCGS or NGC are exponentially more valuable because they show minimal wear and sharp definition of the error. A circulated coin might still be worth a handsome sum, but an uncirculated or mint-state coin skyrockets into the tens of thousands or even over 100,000. That's where the staggering figures like $133,000 come into play. It's not just rarity. It's rarity combined with pristine preservation. Now imagine someone unknowingly spending one of these pennies at a convenience store, slipping it across the counter without realizing its true worth. That scenario happens more often than you'd think. Many rare error coins are discovered decades later by casual collectors, estate finders, or lucky individuals sifting through jars of old change. The thought that a 1972 penny with a double die could be hiding in plain sight somewhere in your home adds an element of excitement to every coin search. And that sense of possibility is one reason why coin collecting remains such a beloved hobby. Every coin tells a story, and some stories lead straight to unexpected fortune. The 1972 era penny has become a legend among collectors, often compared to other famous era coins like the 1955 double die cent or the 1969 S double die. But what makes the 1972 coin stand out is the sheer clarity of its doubling. Unlike subtle errors that require magnification to verify, the doubling on the 1972 cent can be seen with the naked eye. That boldness makes it not only highly collectible but also iconic in the world of American numismatics. It's a coin that bridges the gap between casual interest and serious investment. And speaking of investment, rare coins like this aren't just fascinating artifacts. They're also tangible assets. In recent years, the numismatic market has seen rising demand for key era coins as collectors and investors alike recognize their potential. When a 1972 era penny comes to auction, it often sets new records, driven by competitive bidding among those who understand the scarcity and significance of the piece. Owning one of these coins isn't just about adding to a collection. It's about holding a piece of history with the power to appreciate in value over time. Let's also not forget the historical context. In 1972, the United States was going through significant cultural and political shifts. It was the height of the Vietnam War, with public sentiment sharply divided. The Watergate scandal was on the horizon, and American society was experiencing deep change. Against this backdrop, the humble penny continued to serve as a constant, a symbol of everyday commerce. The irony that such an ordinary object from such an extraordinary time could become a hidden treasure decades later only adds to its allure. When you hold a 1972 era penny, you're not just holding a valuable coin, you're holding a tangible artifact from a defining era in American history. Stories abound of lucky finders stumbling upon these pennies in the most unassuming places. Someone emptying a family coin jar, another checking pocket change after a grocery trip, or even a child examining coins out of curiosity, all have led to discoveries worth tens of thousands. These real-life tales fuel the dream for many, that somewhere in their own collection of coins lies a penny that could change their financial future. And the truth is, it very well might. After all, these coins are out there, waiting to be found. So the next time you encounter a penny, especially one from 1972, take a closer look. Examine the lettering, the date, the inscriptions. If you notice what appears to be shadowing or doubling, don't dismiss it. You might just be looking at one of the most valuable error coins in American history. Depending on its grade and clarity, that small copper coin could be worth anywhere between $54,000 and $133,000. That's the kind of return on investment that no stock market or lottery ticket could ever promise from a mere penny. This is what makes the world of rare coins so endlessly fascinating. It reminds us that value can be hidden in plain sight, that everyday objects can carry stories and fortunes beyond our imagination. The 1972 Lincoln cent error coin is a shining example of this truth. A coin worth a single cent to most people has transformed into a prize worth more than a luxury car, a home down payment, or even a year's salary. And it's out there, perhaps waiting in someone's change drawer or nestled in an old collection box. The hunt for these coins isn't just about money. It's about history, curiosity, and the thrill of discovery. Each coin represents a connection to America's past, a mistake from the mint that became a marvel for collectors. And each one carries the possibility of changing someone's life in ways they never anticipated. The next time you come across a penny from 1972, don't overlook it. Give it the attention it deserves, because within that small copper coin might lie the gateway to an astonishing treasure, valued anywhere between $54,000 and $133,000. And that is a discovery worth far more than its weight. The United States 1-cent penny from 1979 might seem like one of the most ordinary coins ever minted. After all, pennies are among the most common pieces of currency in circulation. They jingle at the bottom of pockets, get stuck in car cup holders, or end up forgotten in glass jars. But what many people don't realize is that within those everyday coins can lie treasures, and the 1979 penny with rare minting errors has proven to be exactly that. A hidden gem worth far more than its humble face value. In fact, depending on the type of error and the condition of the coin, some of these pennies have been valued at an astonishing $50,000 to $122,000. That kind of price for a coin most people overlook instantly transforms it into an object of fascination for collectors and enthusiasts. To truly understand why a 1979 penny could ever achieve such value, it's important to step into the context of the late 1970s. By then, the Lincoln Memorial design had been on the penny for 2 decades. First introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the obverse carried the iconic bust of Lincoln, while the reverse displayed the detailed Lincoln Memorial, complete with tiny representations of its columns. Billions of these coins were minted every year, making them a familiar sight across the country. But it is precisely because so many were produced that errors, while rare, stood out as remarkable. The U.S. Mint was operating at a staggering pace to keep up with demand, and while its quality control was strict, no system is perfect. A few flawed coins managed to slip through, becoming rare treasures decades later. Among the most prized 1979 penny errors are double die strikes. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a doubling effect. Collectors love these errors because they are easy to see with the naked eye, especially when they affect numbers in the date or letters in the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. A 1979 penny with a strong double die error can easily jump from pocket change to life-changing money. When found in near-perfect condition, such a coin could realistically fall within that staggering range of $50,000 to $122,000. Another fascinating category of errors includes off-center strikes. In these cases, the coin blank was misaligned in the press, so only part of the design was struck, leaving a blank crescent on the coin. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors especially prize off-center strikes that are extreme yet still show the date clearly, as the visible date confirms authenticity and adds to desirability. A heavily off-center 1979 penny that maintains its date legibility is a coin that could sell for tens of thousands at auction. Wrong planchet errors are another highly sought-after category. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets struck into a coin, and sometimes a penny is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin. The result is a penny that appears too small, too light, or with incomplete designs due to the size mismatch. These errors are exceedingly rare and represent the kind of minting mistakes that fuel collectors' dreams. When authenticated and graded in mint state condition, a 1979 wrong planchet penny could be one of those reaching the upper levels of that $50,000 to $122,000 range. But error types alone don't tell the whole story. The allure of the 1979 penny also lies in its role in American culture. Pennies are often dismissed as the least valuable coin, yet they carry the portrait of one of the nation's most revered presidents. For collectors, finding a major error on such an iconic coin creates a juxtaposition that is irresistible. The idea that something so overlooked could be worth more than luxury cars or even a home is part of the excitement that drives interest in these coins. Condition, as always in numismatics, is a key factor. A 1979 penny with an error that circulated heavily, collecting scratches and wear, might still be interesting to collectors but won't reach the astronomical prices of pristine examples. It's when these error coins are found in near-perfect or mint state condition, sometimes even discovered in unopened rolls of coins from banks, that they become truly valuable. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play an essential role in this process, verifying authenticity, assigning grades, and giving collectors confidence that what they are bidding on is genuine. A graded, mint state 1979 penny error is the type of coin that collectors are willing to spend tens of thousands on. The journey of discovery adds even more fascination. Many error coins are found by chance, sometimes by people with little to no knowledge of numismatics. Imagine going through change, spotting something that looks unusual, and later finding out it's worth more than $50,000. Stories of such discoveries always capture the imagination, reminding people that treasures still exist in the most ordinary places. For seasoned collectors, the 1979 penny is a reminder of why the hobby is so rewarding. The thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and the possibility of uncovering something extraordinary. The year 1979 itself also adds context. America was on the cusp of major changes, with economic pressures, high inflation, and shifting politics. Coin collecting had already become a popular pastime, with many people searching through coins for silver or for rare dates. But few would have guessed that a common penny from that year could one day be worth more than some of the silver coins collectors hoarded. This irony makes the story of the 1979 penny even more compelling. Think for a moment about how many pennies you've encountered in your lifetime. Most of us don't even bend down to pick them up off the ground. They sit unnoticed in coin trays at convenience stores, pile up in jars, or vanish into the background of daily life. And yet, within that sea of ordinary copper coins could be one that breaks the mold, one that collectors dream about, one that commands a price tag between $50,000 and $122,000. That's the incredible truth behind the 1979 penny error. It's a hidden treasure disguised as something mundane. Collectors are not only paying for rarity but also for the story. Every coin has a narrative, from its minting process to its journey through circulation to its discovery, by someone who recognized its uniqueness. A 1979 penny error is not just a piece of metal. It is a piece of history, a testament to the human element in minting where mistakes, though rare, can and do happen. These errors tell stories of the mint working under pressure, of human oversight, and of the lucky chance that allowed such coins to escape into the world. And it is precisely this mix of history, rarity, and luck that gives the 1979 penny its mystique. For collectors, it represents the thrill of discovery and the hope that the next coin they examine could be the one. For those who find them, it represents unexpected fortune, proof that incredible value can hide in plain sight. For the wider public, it's a reminder that pennies, often dismissed as nearly worthless, can in rare cases hold value far beyond imagination. So the next time you see a penny, especially one minted in 1979, take a closer look. Examine the date, the inscriptions, the strike. Look for signs of doubling, off-center images, or unusual size and weight. What seems like an ordinary coin might in fact be a rare error, the kind that could change your life. That 1-cent piece could be worth not just a few cents but as much as $50,000 to $122,000, placing it among the most sought-after modern errors in American coinage. The story of the 1979 penny error is a reminder that value is not always obvious. Sometimes it takes a closer look, a bit of knowledge, and the willingness to notice what others overlook. And in those rare cases, it can transform the most ordinary of objects into something truly extraordinary. In the world of coins, there are treasures hiding in plain sight, and one such treasure is the 1985 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny with rare mint errors. At first glance, it looks like the same small copper-colored coin you've handled 1,000 times before. But this 1 cent holds a mystery that has stunned collectors and dealers for decades. A simple penny, struck in 1985, has managed to rise from being worth just 1 cent to being valued between $44,000 and $112,000 depending on its condition and the error it carries. It sounds unbelievable, but when you begin to uncover the story behind it, you'll see why this coin has become so legendary in the numismatic world. The Lincoln penny itself has always been an important part of U.S. currency. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first American coin to feature a real person instead of a symbolic figure. The portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side has become iconic, representing American history, resilience, and leadership. By 1985, the penny was already an everyday staple of American life, but it was also a time when the mint was struggling with changes in metal compositions, die maintenance, and increasing production to meet demand. All of these factors created an environment where error coins could slip through, and one of the most extraordinary mistakes produced that year has transformed an ordinary cent into an extraordinary rarity. Collectors prize error coins because they tell a story. Every mistake on a coin is like a fingerprint of history. It shows what was happening at the mint at that very moment. In 1985, one of the most significant errors involved misstrikes, double dies, and planchet mistakes. These rare anomalies didn't just make the coin different. They made it special. Imagine someone holding on to a handful of change in 1985, not realizing that one of those pennies contained an error that would one day make it worth tens of thousands of dollars. Many of these coins went unnoticed for years, circulating among everyday purchases like groceries and bus fares, until collectors began to spot the telltale signs. What makes the 1985 penny particularly valuable is the range of errors that exist. Some show clear doubling on Lincoln's features, especially on the date or the word liberty. Others reveal striking problems where the coin was off-center, leaving part of the design missing and part of the blank planchet exposed. There are even instances of wrong planchet errors, where the penny was mistakenly struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. Each of these variations makes the coin increasingly rare, and rarity always drives value. That's why, today, examples of the 1985 error penny can command staggering prices, from $44,000 to as much as $112,000 when auctioned in top-grade condition. Think about the journey of such a coin. For decades, people handled it without realizing its significance. A cashier may have placed it in a register, a child may have used it to buy candy, or it may have been tossed into a jar at home. Yet the whole time, this small copper-plated coin was carrying hidden value. It took sharp-eyed collectors years later to recognize the errors and preserve these coins. Auction houses have since seen fierce bidding wars over the 1985 penny errors, with collectors willing to pay record-breaking prices just to secure one. The thrill of owning such a piece of history, knowing that only a handful exist, is what drives these values into the tens of thousands. To understand why this coin matters so much, it helps to look at the context of the era. In 1982, just 3 years earlier, the U.S. Mint transitioned from mostly copper pennies to copper-plated zinc pennies because the price of copper had become too high. This switch created all sorts of striking and quality control challenges, as the new metal composition was more prone to flaws. By 1985, while the mint had largely adjusted, errors still slipped through. It's likely that many of the surviving 1985 error pennies are directly tied to those early struggles with the zinc-based planchets. In fact, collectors now specifically search for error coins from the 1980s because of this transitional period. For those lucky enough to own a 1985 penny with one of these significant errors, the financial reward is life-changing. A coin that cost only 1 cent to produce can sell for the price of a new car or even a house. At the lower end, auction results show prices around $44,000 for examples in less pristine conditions. But for those with sharp detail, strong errors, and preserved surfaces, prices have soared past $100,000, with the very best specimens reaching $112,000 or more. It's the kind of story that fuels dreams among coin hunters and everyday people alike. Could the next penny in your pocket be worth a fortune? That's why knowledge is so powerful in the world of coins. Collectors spend years learning to identify small details that set rare coins apart from ordinary ones. With the 1985 penny, spotting the doubling in the lettering or the unusual off-center strike could be the key to uncovering a hidden gem. Even worn coins can be valuable if the error is dramatic enough, but the coins that command the highest prices are those that combine rarity, clear error features, and high preservation. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and graded some of these pennies, solidifying their place as valuable treasures. Every time one of these coins appears at auction, it sparks excitement across the numismatic community. Collectors gather, waiting to see how high the bids will go. Stories circulate about a penny once ignored in change now being worth enough to fund retirement or pay off debt. These stories aren't just folklore. They're real accounts of how error coins can transform lives. And at the center of it all is the humble 1985 penny, once overlooked, now one of the most talked about error coins of its generation. So the next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it as just pocket change. Look closely at the date, study the design, and pay attention to any unusual features. Because hidden among billions of ordinary coins could be one of the rare 1985 errors, worth anywhere from $44,000 on the low side to an extraordinary $112,000 at the high end. That's the kind of discovery that makes coin collecting more than just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt where history, rarity, and chance all come together to create something truly extraordinary.